This conference will now be recorded.
Hi, good morning, everyone. One of you, please confirm to me if you are able to see my screen as well as
Yeah,
you are able to hear
able
me
to see
clearly.
and hear.
Yes.
Very good. Thanks.
Yes.
Okay. So, hope all of you are in comfortable positions and eager to learn. So, this is our fifth session on Machine Learning Foundations online course. So far, in the last four sessions, we talked about some conceptual things about machine learning in very simple terms without complicating them too much. With that goal in mind, actually, we covered, and that is very useful for you as we are going to do the projects now. So before we do the projects, all of us will have to get some familiarity with using Python as a language. And again, we'll be learning Python basics, I call it as a crash course, Python crash course for data science. So we will learn it. So this might take another maybe 5 to 6 sessions. And then by the end of those 5, 6 sessions, all of us will be on the same page of being able to think through Python language to solve some data science and machine learning problems as well as projects. We'll do projects. Again, just to kind of give a little bit of encouragement to you, especially those of you who actually don't like complex programming, building complex logic. Actually, machine learning kind of software development will solve your problem. You will not have to write a lot of complex logic, thousands of lines of code that you don't need to do. Okay. What you need to do is you have to understand the data set and you have to really understand how to solve the problem. And to solve the problem, you need a little bit of tool, and that's where Python comes in your hands. So even when you do build a machine learning project, a professional grade machine learning project, you will not be writing more than 100 lines of code instructions. So that is the nature of this. So those of you you consider yourself as lazy programmers, then actually this is a quite an interesting thing to work technically with machine learning. So with that in your mind, start learning it. So hope all of you have actually installed your Anaconda distribution, which contains all the tools that are needed along with Python language for doing data science and machine learning project. Hope you have got that, and also you have your Jupyter notebooks. That is the IDE. That's what we are going to use is available. So from today onwards, what we will do is that as I take you through this course, have my screen in this one window and also have your Jupyter on another window so that you can start typing in code. Okay, that is how you can save some time because I know a lot of you are having busy schedules but still learning, so you can save some time. But some of you who don't have the necessary infrastructure, maybe you're watching through your mobile phones and all, you are not in a position to try some code, then anyway, I'm actually recording these meetings and sharing it with you. You can use the video and then sit on a computer and try it as well. So let us get going with Python basics now. Okay. So
Madhu, one
Python.
question.
Yeah, go on. Yeah,
Hello.
please go on. Yeah.
Yeah, Madhu. Along with this recorded session, like, can you also save the files like Python programming files and share us?
Yeah, that also I can do, basically the IPYNB files. But if I share those files, you will go and just run them. Actually, you
Oh,
you will learn only when you type this code and you experience your own problems and you solve it. But I can send it also. But
yeah,
my kind of direction to you or guidance is that do type you yourself. And again, to complete a proper project from start to finish, you will not type more than 100 lines of code. I guarantee
yeah.
you.
Okay, sure.
Okay. Okay. So Python is a general purpose programming language with a wide range of uses. You can build, do a lot of data science activity using Python, as well as you can write very complex web applications using Python, and you can do a lot of scientific computing using Python. So, so it's a very general purpose programming language. And actually, the good thing about Python is that it's very easy to use, very straightforward syntax. The way you know the problem and the problem is in your mind, then uh, you can very naturally express that problem as a programming statement using Python. That is how the uh, people have designed this program. That's why it's so popular. So the straightforward syntax allows you to spend less time writing code and more time solving problems, especially when it comes to data science and machine learning kind of work. You need not be a great programmer. You need not be a computer science specialist. Okay. But what you really have to really worry as a data scientist is that whenever you come across a very complex data, a Excel table with a lot of rows and columns with many numbers and descriptions, then a good data scientist or a person with data scientist kind of mindset, they will not be worried to see the data. They will be more interested to see the data. As soon as they see the data, they have a lot of questions in their mind. And when they have questions in their mind to know a little bit more details and insight from the data, then they need some tools to ask those questions. That is where actually Python comes handy for you to ask those questions. So it will give, you can ask those questions the way the problems are occurring in your mind. And when the answers come, you will get more questions. And then all those questions, you can translate it into Python instructions very natural way. That is why actually Python is getting very popular in this. Okay. So Python is an extremely popular, it is very extremely popular with data science community because it comes with many great libraries. Like earlier also we talked, there is pandas, there is this numpy and ML algorithms like scikit-learn and keras. All these things come. So quickly, why Python? Again, this is a Kegel's state of data science and machine learning study. It tells that Python leads, and it is the most popular technology among data scientists. Then R follows, and you can see. So Python is very important. That is why it's a very important skill for most of you who want to be data scientists. As I told you, uh, using Python, these libraries for doing machine learning and deep learning work have been already created. There are, you can use out of the box algorithms, ML algorithms to solve a lot of problems. Scikit-learn focuses on mostly machine learning problems. Keras actually has a lot of libraries to solve problems using artificial neural networks. Okay. Again, generally, if you are a developer or whatever technology professional, if because nowadays programming skills are becoming important even for test engineers, for anyone, UI UX people, uh, one proficiency with one programming language is getting extremely important. If that is the case, if you have to learn one programming language, even if you learn Python as a general purpose programming language, it will give you a competitive edge around your careers. Okay. So in fact, again, Stack Overflow's developer survey, Python is the leading general purpose programming language and only followed by JavaScript. If you look at Java, Java has fallen down to lower level position. So if at all you want, because anyway all this corona COVID things are destabilizing IT careers, better actually after this basics learning of Python for data science, some of you are seriously interested to develop serious applications using Python, then Python can be one important language to kind of master. Then it will give you a boost to your career. Okay. So as I told you also earlier, you do not need to master programming or learn computer science to be a successful data scientist. So to be a successful data scientist, you have to love data. Like if you see very complex big Excel sheet with 1,000 columns and a lakh rows with lot of numbers, if you feel giddiness, then you will not be a data scientist. If you feel like, oh great, this complex data, I want to enter inside this data, dance inside that Excel sheet, if you get that kind of feeling, then you are the data scientist. Yes, I know a lot of us, to start with, we may or we may not like that kind of complex data, but as you learn this course, my uh, encouragement I want to give you to actually start loving data. Then only you will become data scientist. Then all these programming, computer science are not that important. That's what I want to leave you with, that idea. Okay, so what we will cover in this crash course, we will learn Python basics. That's what we will do. Then we will quickly review 4 important data structures, basic Python data structures like lists, dictionaries, sets, tuples. These are used as you build your models and do some data cleaning activity. So we'll learn about them. And also the other libraries, like again, the third topic we will cover is actually the flow and functions, how control flow statements, basic control flow works in Python. Then how do we do a little bit of user defined functions whenever we are doing, we want to achieve some reusability. Again and again we are doing the same code. Then how do I intelligently put it together so that I can call a function and solve problems in a very generalized manner. That is the third lesson that we will cover. Then these 2 libraries, as I told you, these are very important: NumPy, numerical Python. Again, as I told you, the data structures, the basic data structures of Python, dictionaries, lists, tuples, sets. On top of that, little bit more intelligent data structures have been created to solve problems in the numerical Python area. That's what we call n-dimensional array. We will understand the data structure, and then how NumPy is built on that, we'll learn it. And then the last lesson that we learn is pandas. This is the real data science library, which will give you a lot of power. So here also, on top of this basic Python data structures, there are 2 more data structures have been invented to solve these tabular information problems. Like there is something called pandas data frame type of data structure, and also pandas series kind of data structure. We learn them and practice it very, very quickly. These are the things we'll cover as the crash course. So basically, we have taken a little bit of deviation. We have left machine learning for a while. We'll build some basic knowledge and then come back and do the projects very quickly. Okay, so let us actually get going with some basics of Python. Those of you who are in front of your computers, you can bring your Jupyter and start typing whatever some code that you are seeing. So let us do very basics, data types and how things work in Python. So Python, as I told you earlier, is a general purpose programming language. You can do pretty much anything with it. On the complex end, you can use Python to write end-to-end machine learning applications. Very complex software you can do. On a very simple end, Python can be used as a calculator as well. So let us do Python and do some calculations to start with. So if you have, let me just share my, let me. So if you have already installed your Jupyter notebook, it actually starts as a browser application on your local host. Then good practice is that whichever directory you want to put all this code, then you create a folder, and in that folder start having your whatever IPY and B files as again, when you do projects, also organize it in a careful manner. So when you have an IPYNB file and open using your Jupyter notebook. So Jupyter is basically a browser-based application. It has a lot of these code cells. Basically, again, it's very easy to use. You can learn. Let's say I want to run something, or let's say I'm doing a calculation 20 plus 20. Then I write that in a code cell, and to run that I'll do shift enter, then immediately it will display the answer. Okay, so basically, like I have 20, 35, 36 plus 36. Okay, that is one line. The second line is 34 plus 34. So I do a shift enter. Only the last instruction output only will be displayed. So if you want both of them to see, then you have to print it basically, so that both outputs are appearing on screen. So some simple things only I'm telling. Just we'll start doing this now, and I want all of you to kind of open it and start following my PowerPoint, and then as we are talking, start typing. In between, I will have some questions and some exercises. You just type the code. Somebody is asking a
Madhu,
question.
yeah,
Yeah.
Madhu. Can you give navigation to this? I have opened it in the.
No, you have to create one folder and open a new file. So basically, if I want to open a new file, okay, file, open,
No,
new file
uh,
comes. Then I have to go here, new Python 3 notebook. Then I will start doing that. That is how you have to start it. I have already created,
okay,
so that I'm showing.
okay.
Okay. So all of you are at least on the empty notebook, you start typing. If you have a cell, start typing, and then you can save it at the end of the thing in a particular folder so that you can open and reuse it. Okay. So those who have already Jupyter notebook in front of you, just start typing. So let us first understand from the basics point of view in Python. In Python, whatever you are typing is actually an object. Okay. So, and Python supports different types of objects. Let's say I entered number 34. Okay. In other programming languages, I will tell explicitly to my language compiler that is a int 32 or some other type. In Python, we don't need to do. As you type, Python will understand based on your typing what type of object is this. So when I enter 10, then actually Python knows it is an integer without any decimals, and it is an object of type number basically. And every object, if you know a little bit of object oriented programming concepts, every object actually has its own properties and behavior. So numbers as the integers, they have some properties, and some things I can do with numbers. If it's a float, if I put a 10.2, then Python knows it is a float, and then it actually, whatever I do after the 10.2, it knows what to do, the behavior of a float. So in Python, basically you have to know that Python supports many different types of objects. So as we go on, everything, a reusable function is an object, a model is an object, a A model pipeline is an object, a dictionary is an object, a list is an object, a string is an object. Okay, everything will be object, and it will have a consistent set of properties and behaviors. So you can almost think of a type as a species of an object. So sometimes you are working in a large program and a lot of objects are there. A lot of times you will have a question, what type of this object? Because based on your knowledge of the type of the object, you can do some things, you cannot do something. So typically we do a type check. So first type, let us talk about from a computation point of view, integers. We'll use lot of times. Okay, integers are type of object we will frequently use for calculations. So integers are numeric objects without decimals. So if you type check on 10, then it will tell it belongs to int type of object. So let us say you typed 10. Okay, then anyway you type 10, it will return 10. But when you type 10, so Python already knows, somebody has given me an object of numeric type integer, because there is no decimal number. Now I want to know, like, a quick way to check an object's type using this type method. Okay, it's a built-in function, small type, and you put in within the parenthesis the 10, then it will tell 10 belongs to this type of object. So that is the type function method. Built-in function is a very important built-in function we'll keep using. So this is handy for data science because you will come across several new object types as you go along, and sometimes you may forget what type this object belongs to. Then you can immediately use this built-in function type, and in the parenthesis you give that object name, then it will tell this belongs to this type. So now let's say you have put 10 and you want to check the type of your input 10, then you can use this built-in function type parenthesis 10 and want to print it. Even if without print also it will do, but always put print, because if you have 3-4 lines of code in one code cell, only last cell will be executed or shown on the display. So keep always doing this. So if you check the type of 10, it belongs to int class. Okay, it's a int type object. Okay, so we can do some things with int objects. So always numbers we have, number objects we have, we are always interested to do some calculations. Okay, to calculate, every programming language has these operators. Okay, plus, minus, divided by, modulus, exponential, all those things. So we can operate on those objects. So we can perform calculations with operators. So basically operators perform calculations between two objects. Okay, they behave differently depending on the object's type. If you are doing a string uh, and using a plus operator, it behaves in one way. If you are doing float and integer or integer addition, it will behave differently. In object oriented language system, we tell that these operators have been overloaded. Based on what we are typing, it automatically knows how to behave in different contexts. For example, you can add, subtract, divide, multiply, and even take the exponent of integers. So all these things are very common to any programming language. So so you can add with plus, minus, divide is actually the slash, then multiplication is star, exponent is double star, and if you want to only get the remainder of it after division, this percentage symbol is used. This is called modulo operator. So that is about operators, and operators are like any other object oriented programming language, they are overloaded. We'll come to that. Again, these are all basics, a lot of you will be knowing, but because for a completeness point of view, again, different type of audience also are there. Based on that, I thought we'll start this way and complete within the next 6 lessons and come to a suitable level on Python. So Python, again, when you are evaluating complex mathematical expressions like any other programming language, it follows standard PEMDAS order. Okay, if you have a big mathematical expression, first it will evaluate something that is inside the parenthesis, and within the parenthesis exponents first, then multiplication and division, and then addition and subtraction. That is how actually all programming languages evaluate mathematical expressions, complex mathematical expressions. So whenever you are writing some code and some mathematics you are doing, so you have to know how this will be kind of calculated by my compiler or interpreter. So here there is an expression, so I'm printing the answer there. So 1 plus in the parenthesis 4 exponent 2, and that is multiplied by 5, parenthesis closed, and divided by 2. So what will be the answer for this? What do you think it will evaluate to? What is the computation here?
41.
Yes, it is 41. So it is again not rocket science. I just wanted your kind of involvement in this, but keep that in mind. Like any other programming language, Python respects the standard PEMDAS order of operations, parenthesis, exponents, multiplication, divisions, addition and subtraction. Okay, that is PEMDAS. Okay, now there are other kind of operators also which are very useful, and those we call them as comparison operators. So they check for equality and inequality between two objects. Okay, so like print 5 greater than 3, so greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, not equal to. These are all symbols, and these are the equality, inequality operators that can be used to compare two objects. And what will be returned after evaluating this expression? Let's say print 5 greater than 3. What will be the output in your opinion?
Boolean.
It will tell either it's a true or false. Okay, so all comparison operators will result in a Boolean type object to be returned. So now, so far we talked about integers, operators, comparison operators. So now, anyway, we started talking about Booleans. So Python supports another data type, that is Booleans. You can define Boolean type of objects. As you can see, when you used a comparison operator, the output is either true or false. These are called Booleans. So Booleans are binary objects that can be either true or false. And the official type, if you can define capital T RUE, capital T small RUE, if you define, that is a reserved word. So it knows, Python knows it's a Boolean object. Okay, so if you type check on the type of 5 greater than 3, so basically the object that is coming out of this is actually a Boolean type, true or false. Okay, and if you define somewhere this keyword using true like this and false like this, it automatically knows it's a Boolean type object, and then only Boolean behavior will be reflected. You cannot do other behavior with those things. Okay, so we talked about
Madhu,
Booleans now.
yeah, Madhu. When I'm trying to print this like type, I'm saying like a class it is instead of type.
Yes.
Is it?
Yeah, some systems it's a class, basically it's an object type. uh, in fact, this I did it on my Mac and copied here, but let's say I go here in my here where is this my mm, okay, let me tell type, let me tell print type 3 greater than, where is my greater than 3 oh, it's, where is here, 1 minute, 3 greater than 5. I'm doing it. Okay. Oh, print type
Bracket close.
bracket close. There is okay. So it is giving class on my Microsoft machine. So it gave me on the other machine like that. So it doesn't matter. Okay. Fine. So where are we? Okay. So that is about Boolean. So don't worry whether it is type or class. Basically, it's object. Sometime I don't know. Basically, Python's implementation on Windows and Mac little bit different, and also sometimes the version difference also will come. We'll check that again. So then let us get to another numerical object type. Okay, and those are called
Hi, Madhu. So,
floats. Yeah, go on.
yeah. So Madhu, the Jupyter. Hello, Madhu. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible. Go on, please.
Hello. Yeah.
Go on, please.
So Madhu, this Jupyter notebook. How do we initiate? From Anaconda Navigator? Do we need to click on launch, or at command prompt? Do we need to type a command and initiate?
Both ways you can do.
The Jupyter
You
notebook.
have wherever it. Yeah, you have installed. Then actually you go to. There will be a window where all these things will come. Then launch Jupyter. Then actually this will open. Otherwise, you go to command prompt, and in the directory where you have this, just type Jupyter space notebook. Then actually a kernel will be started, and it starts on a local host, a web browser based application. Okay.
Okay. Thanks, Madhu. I'll try.
Yeah. Okay. So the second type is actually floats. So floats are numbers with decimal places. Okay, integers are without decimal. Anyway, these are all not rocket science, but because we have to cover, I'm covering. Okay, but sometimes you need an object that can represent something more precise. So floats are used. So floats are numeric objects with decimals, and float is the official object type. If you give Python a number 5 and dot decimal and type check on that, it will give, it's a float, or 5.3, then it will give float. Only 5, then it is int. Okay. So again, floats have their own way of behavior. So we'll look into that. Okay. It's another number type. Okay. Floats are numbers with decimal places. You can also convert an integer into a float. Okay. Using built-in float function. So like say you are using some number into int, but I want a little bit more precision in my computation. So I want to use it as a float rather than int. Then I can use this built-in method or function float and give my int object inside the parenthesis. It will put a decimal and add that as a float. Python will tag on a decimal and 0 to indicate that it is a float. So let's say here in this example 1337 is int. Okay, so I want to use it in a little bit more precise calculation, so I can convert using my built-in function float and pass my object here. Then it will add a decimal to that and converts into float. Similarly, let us say you have a float number and you want to bring it back to an integer. Okay, so you can use a function called int function. Okay, so you have 5.3 and two float numbers you are converting as ints using this int built-in function. So both of them have given output of 5. So there is a little bit of issue with when you convert a float to an int using the int function. Actually, it doesn't round off things, but it actually truncates all the numbers right to the decimal point. It will remove and shows the int. Okay, and it converts the type of 5. If you look at it, it will be an int, basically the type. Okay, so if you don't want this, so basically you have to be aware that when you kind of convert a float into an int, it actually truncates. It doesn't do really round off. So if you want to really round a float, then in Python, good thing about it is that whatever you want to do, there is within the same word, there will be a method also. Okay, so as you can see, the int function always rounds down. That is because what it is really doing is truncating the decimals from the number. It is just chopping the decimals off. Keep this in mind when converting floats into integers using this int function. But there is a separate built-in function for rounding. Okay, and it is just round and parenthesis. So it actually rounds off to a immediate closer integer. So 5.3 will be rounded off to 5. 5.99 will be rounded off to 6 and converted as integer. Okay, whichever is useful, we have to use those functions. So if you look at it, you are rounding only 5.999, then it is rounding off to 6.0. Basically, round will not convert it into int. If you check, like type of round of 5.999, it is a float number, but it is rounded off to the 6.0. If you want to use it as an integer, then you have to put int function on this round function, and then only the type also is changed to int. Okay, so keep that in mind. These are all, again, many things are there. I'm not covering, and it's not our goal also. Whichever is needed for data science and machine learning work, those kind of things only we are covering. Okay, then operations on different objects. Basically, when you perform operations between an integer and float, the output always becomes a float. It will always resolve to a higher precision type. Python will use the more precise type. So basically, 5 is an int object number type. You are multiplying that with a 3.14, which is a float type number object. Okay, so if you type check on the answer, it will be a float, and the resultant is a float. So that is how the operators between two types of number objects will work. It will always resolve to a more precise type. Okay, keep again that is in mind. And okay, so however, there is a quirk when it comes to dividing two integers. Again, Python 2 and Python 3 behave little differently. In Python 2, hope all of you have gone to Anaconda now and installed Python 3, but sometimes on your machines, Macs actually comes with built-in Python 2 language actually. So in Python 2, if you divide two integers, you will get a truncated integer. The resultant will be integer and it will be truncated. Let's say if you do 3 divided by 2, and if you are using Python 2, the answer will be 1. The answer will not be 1.5. If you want to get in Python 2 answer 1.5, actually you have to convert one of those numbers as float. So you have to give like 3 divided by 2.0, then it will give 1.5. But if you give simply 3 by 2, it will give answer of 1. That is the problem with how it does integer division in Python 2. But in Python 3, they don't do that. Python 3, whichever way you give, it will resolve to float. Okay, so let us try that. So if you have in doubt a little bit in my computer whether Python 2 is there or Python 3, actually this check itself will tell you. You give 3 by 2 and print. If it is giving 1, means you are operating with Python 2 right now. And if it gives 1.5, it will give it in Python 3. Okay, but if you want to get, irrespective of Python 2 or Python 3, you want to get 1.5 as answer, you have to give 3 divided by 2 dot decimal. So basically you are telling 2 is a float. That's why answer is in float, even in Python 2. Okay, got it? So practically, whenever you need to divide two numbers, we recommend always making at least one of them into a float. Okay, by doing so, this will never be an issue, no matter which Python version you are using. Just keep that in mind. Okay, so let's move on. Now we have talked about 3 types: integer type, Boolean type, and float type. And also we looked at these operators and how different types operators will work. We will come with the next type, the string type. A lot of usefulness of string type is there in our ML work, because you build models, you train them, then you build a report. You want to type a lot of strings with dynamically allocated values. So this is a useful thing. Again, like any other programming language, the strings work here also. So strings are not numeric, number based objects. They are text objects, and they are always enclosed by quotes, either double quotes or single quotes. Okay, so far we have seen 2 numeric types and 1 non-numeric type of objects. Int is a numeric type, float is a numeric type, bool is a non-numeric type. We have already looked at it. Let us take a look at another non-numeric type, that is strings. So basically strings are text objects enclosed by quotes, either single quote or double quote. So if you check on an object with string text, and with any object with quotes, single or double quotes, then Python already knows that it is a basically a text object, and the type is str, the official type when you do the type check. So it has its own behavior, separate behavior. Okay, so these are also very useful things. So they can be enclosed, as I told you, either by single quotes or double quotes. Okay, you can define. So any information you put on the two sides, either single quote or double quote, Python takes it as a string. Even if you put a number 485 with quotes or double quotes, that is a string for Python. It is not a number for Python. Okay, so this is how we define our strings. So if you look at here, I am printing quote, single quote 992 plus 345 single quote and equal to double quotes 992 plus 345 double quote end. That is one statement I am printing. Okay, I am doing comparison here, and I am doing single quote 992 plus 345 single quote and not equal to without quotes this. So what will be the output of this? It's a Boolean. It's a output will be a Boolean, because comparison operators are being used between these two objects. So what will be the answer for the first one? Will it be true or will it be false?
True.
It will be true, because strings in double quotes or single quotes, they are same objects. It doesn't distinguish from. The second one is
False.
false, because the first one is a string object. The second one is basically two numbers. They will not be equal anyway. Okay. Sorry, it's not equal. Sorry, it's not a false. It is true, because they are not equal. It is not equal to equal to. Whoever told false, actually you are false. It is true. Clear? Because this and this are not equal. So it is true statement. Okay. Are you with me?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So you can confirm that single quotes or double quotes are equivalent using the equals to operator. And we can also confirm that strings and numbers are not equivalent using the not equals to operator. So this is actually not equals to operator. We just missed it. Okay. So go on. let's go on. So in most situations, there is no difference between single and double quotes. But let's say in your text object, there is a apostrophe. Okay, then you have to take care. If you are using single quote to define that string, and within the text there is a apostrophe, then you have to solve that problem in two ways. One way is to, wherever that apostrophe is there, use an escape character, the backslash character, to tell Python that you just ignore this. This is a part of the string object. Or easiest way is that in your text there is a single quote, define the string using double quotes. The problem will be solved. Okay. So let's say here I'm trying to type, it's a me Mario, that's some text I'm typing. So there is a apostrophe in my string. So here I'm using, just before the apostrophe, I'm using this escape character backslash. Then I can define that string with single quotes. Then it produces output. Or easy is that I define my string using double quotes, then I don't need to bother about using that escape character. But that is how it can be solved. Then your text might also have double quotes in your text. Some quotation of somebody is there in your text. Then again, wherever double quotes are coming, you can do an escape character and define using double quotes. Or because you have a double quote inside the text, you define your string using single quotes. That is how Python solves this problem. So here, if you look at it, we want to print that she said quotes hello world. That is the string I want to get as an output. Okay, and I'm using in the first one single quote, so no problem, it doesn't bother. But in the second print statement, I'm using double quotes to define my string. Then wherever double quotes inside that string is happening, I am using an escape character to solve that problem. So this is again, that is how Python solves this problem, like many other languages also. So keep that in mind, because this text things will keep on using many times. Now, string is another type of object, but some operators, this plus, minus, division, all these things, some operators work and some operators don't work with strings, but they work in a different way. If you surround numeric calculations with anyway, string operations we are telling, you will turn the statement into a string. Okay, numeric calculation you want to convert into a string, just put quotes. That means the calculation will not be performed. Like here, for the example, 992 plus 345, these two objects are int objects, so plus works as a addition. You put single quotes means it's a object string. Okay, it doesn't perform calculations. Okay, so here you are using two string objects, in between you are using the plus operator. So what it does, it doesn't add these numbers because they are strings. Plus will behave as a concatenation operator. It adds two strings together and presents it. And similarly, you have multiplication operator. So here single quote 5 is a string object. I'm using multiplied by an integer 5. So what it produces is that a repetition. It will repeat that 5 times. So that is how it operates. The string operations work. And if you do some division, it doesn't support. Python doesn't support. So it will give a type error. Okay. Keep these things in mind. Okay. So very interesting string thing is we use most often in our ML projects is use this dot format function inside a string definition. Okay, so basically strings are very helpful for formatting outputs because you can dynamically insert values into them. Okay, so to do that, first mark spot to insert with braces. So these braces have to be used wherever you want to dynamically allocate some values within the string, and then at the end of the string you have to apply this dot format function. and within the function you have to give your arguments. Okay, so here let us see this. My string I'm defining here, single quote 992 plus 345 equal to, here I am putting a placeholder. How I'm telling my Python it's a placeholder, I'm using two braces here. Then I'm ending my string. On this string I am applying a built-in function called format, and in that format I am passing two arguments, or actually one argument, that is 992 plus 345. Here the addition will be done, and whatever is the addition output, it will be kind of coming into this placeholder, and that is how. So if you change these numbers here, a different thing can come. So that is how this dot format on string is a very useful thing we'll keep using. So carefully look at this syntax, type yourself to understand how it works. If you want to insert multiple dynamic values, that also you can do. Put multiple braces wherever you want a placeholder, and you get output from after dot format. Okay, let's say here I want this kind of thing. Okay, I don't want to give any hard coded value. I'm giving the first placeholder plus second placeholder equal to third placeholder, that is my string. Okay, single quotes have ended, and on that string dot format I am putting the first placeholder 992, it will come there, 345 in the second placeholder, and the third argument is the output of addition, then it will come. So let's say you want a minus, then you change it, then different output will come. So this is a very useful feature of strings, to be able to format using placeholders and dynamically change a strings thing using some calculations done. Okay, so this is what is actually about strings. I hope you are typing some code and learning, that will be very useful. So last part of my basic part is that actually, anyway, when we write programs, we don't write directly numbers, we give some useful name, and we will make it more readable, and uh, the statements will be using those variables that we are giving it to this data types, and then we do perform some calculations that will be much more readable. Real programs will be written like that. So variables basically are building blocks that every application will need. Okay, so variables are named objects for storing information. If I tell a equal to 5, then a integer type object now is stored in a place, and I'm referring to that place as a. That is what I'm telling. And then whenever I'm referring to a, actually I'm referring with respect to that particular object there. Okay, so here you can set them with assignment. Equal to is an assignment operator. Okay, so a equal to 5, so 5 is assigned to a named variable by a. Okay, and it is a integer type object. B equal to 3, C equal to double quotes hello world. So a string object has been stored in a named variable C. Okay, so if you print a, whatever is there stored, it is giving. Okay, if you do print C star 5, then hello world will actually repeat 5 times. That is how it will respond. So again, variables is the way we express most of our programs, so keep that in mind. So again, good naming convention is very important. Okay, so Python, again, it is a good naming convention for your variables, reusable functions. Then actually your programs will become very readable. Even without comments, people should be able to understand what you are trying to do in a particular logic. So try to give variables names with meanings. This helps you keep your code clean and under control. For styling, Python recommends lower underscore case underscore with under. So basically, our lower cases, wherever two words are having space, replace it with an underscore. That is how we do that. But you have to follow the same convention, then your programs will become more readable. Let's say this is the calculation I want to do. Okay, return on investment with some equation there. Okay, so I can directly type numbers and put parentheses and evaluate the expression, but nobody will understand what you are trying to do. So that is why we use variables and solve this problem instead of directly jumping in with numbers. Okay, so we can use descriptive names to keep track of our values. So I am giving principal and assigning a value, a float number to that, then yearly interest underscore rate, I'm giving assigning this interest rate. The term I'm giving as n score years. These are the variables I'm declaring, and I will use them in my calculation. Then we can calculate total return on investment using our variables. So I'm calling total underscore return, that is capital R. So I'm using these variables into calculation, and I'm producing the output. This is how real programs are written. So keep doing that. Okay, so again, these variable names are case sensitive. If you use different case, it will be a different variable. So keep that in mind. Okay, like here, capital small principal equal to 1000. That is the value I'm assigning. A principal with capital P, Mr. Smith, is different from principal with small p. Okay, so they are different variables because variables are case sensitive in Python. Keep that in mind. Okay, so now it is your turn really to quickly type in, whoever is typing. Okay, this is the exercise section. So every lesson, typically there will be an exercise. I want you to type those things and try it for yourself. Then only you will get a little bit of exercise. So good. So here is a small thing. You have 3 empty cylinders, empty cylinder shaped bottles. Okay, 3 of them, number of bottles are 3. Each bottle has a height of 16 centimeters and a radius of 4 centimeters. Each bottle can be completely filled. Don't bother about the thickness of the bottle. I want you to calculate the total volume of water you can carry using these 3 bottles. So I want you to write a mathematical expression, and the output that you will get is 2411.52. So type in your code cell whatever for this. So what you will do, print. Okay, what we are really doing, 3 bottles. So 3 star pi r square h, pi is 3.14, pi star r square 4 star 2 star h is 16. So like that you can get it. Okay, so okay, so you can do this. If you are anybody typing and seeing for yourself.
Madhu, Joseph here.
Yeah, Joseph.
I am just getting a file. I don't see a compiler or anything when I try to run this Jupyter notebook.
Okay.
I'm seeing one in Google Chrome. I'm going into different folders and text files.
Yeah.
But if I
So
see that
are you
files running,
seeing some screen like this on the local host 8888 when you are invoking Jupyter Notebook?
no,
Yes,
I
Madhu.
am
I can see that.
no, I am not able to
So
see that.
are,
Is it?
are you on Microsoft system or
I'm on
Mac system?
Microsoft Windows. No,
Windows
I'm
system.
on
So
Windows
I'm
only.
also on the
Yeah.
same system. Yeah. So let me close it here. This lesson I have
Yeah.
installed. Okay, I kept everything in my folder in wherever my Jupyter notebook is installed in there. C.
Okay.
drive. Everything
Okay.
I'm putting in this foundation in ML course. That's what I'm teaching right now. I'm closing that also. Then
Okay.
because every time it starts a kernel, you have to kill the kernel by typing 2 times Control C. Okay. Then you are
Okay.
back into your folders, the Windows DOS prompt. Okay. Now,
Okay.
if I have installed everything, and let me close this also. I will not open anything. Just I am going to my here.
Okay.
Actually, you go to, if it is in C programming file somewhere, this Anaconda, you can go there and actually create a shortcut on your computer with your invoke Anaconda. There is a green circle will come. You click there and a window opens with all these R, Jupyter, Jupyter Lab, many things will open. Okay. But there is
Okay.
another way is that like just go here, Jupyter notebook. Okay. So basically, that is in my C actually. That's why I'm going there. I created a folder there and doing from there only. Jupyter notebook, when I do, my kernel will start. Okay. When my kernel will start on the local host, I will get a browser application. This is what is my Jupyter application. Now,
Okay.
whatever immediately it shows, if there is no folders, nothing in my that Madhu, this basically this folder, documents folder, then it will not show anything. But when you have a lot of these things, it will show folders.
Yeah,
Now
I'm
you can
able to
select
see
a
all the folders. Yeah.
now so let's say outside this you want to create a new one Jupyter
Hmm.
node IPYNB file. So you will go here
Mhm.
to this new and do Python 3 notebook. Okay, then it will,
Okay.
yeah. Then here I will give, let's say I want to print my first exercise, print 3 star 3.14, 3 point actually, 3.14, okay, star pi r is 4 square, so 2. Anyway, spaces and all don't matter, but for readability, the way you want to do, you can do. Star h is my 16. Okay. Then if I to run this cell code cell, I just do shift enter on my MS system, so it will give my output. Again, here there is a lot of menus are there. From a Jupyter notebook point of view, here default code cell, it is a Python 3 notebook. It can be R notebook also, but we are doing Python, so Python. So let's say I want to, what is good thing about Jupyter notebook is that I can create some code cells with markdown. Then I can put, okay, this is my first project. So to give very good documentation with good headings and all, if I do shift enter, good documentation will come. Let's say again I am doing one more markdown cell with here second level heading I want to do. Okay.
Madhu, actually, I'm getting creating
Hmm.
notebook failed. An error occurred while creating a new notebook. When I try to open the Python 3 notebook.
Okay. So you have installed from same distribution, Anaconda distribution only, no?
Yes.
Okay. Your kernel on the command prompt, the kernel is running. Like behind the scene, it keeps on running.
One
Right
minute.
now, whatever I'm doing, yeah.
Well, actually, I'm not seeing this, but I could able to run the programs.
Yeah, behind the scenes, you go alt tab, this black screen thing will run because it's a lot of people work using this also, but this is where actually the Jupyter will come. But anyway, I think Joseph is asking this question. Just check on Google, some installation issue will be there. Just figure it out. Otherwise, tomorrow we'll see.
Okay.
Is it could be of because of this environment variable check was not done while installing?
I don't know really. We have to see that. Just see the instruction, installation instruction one more time. Did you follow it or not? Otherwise, uninstall and install again.
Sure, Madhu.
Okay. So anyway, it's not a very complex application, but you will be able to figure it out. Not a problem. So by tomorrow, you get ready with that. So basically, this is our exercise 1. So I want to do another exercise from you. Assume that you will need 2000 centimeters cube of water. Okay. And you know the dimensions of your bottles. I want you to write a small code where it has to give an expected output of true, that if you have enough water, space, true, otherwise false. So how will you do? You use a comparison operator. So this pi r square h, 3 into pi r square h is greater than or equal to 2000, because it is 2411. So it is greater than or equal to 2000, it will give true. So we are using this comparison operators, which produces a Boolean. That is what we learned as a second exercise. I'm quickly a little bit going. Anyway, this video will be there. So let's say the third exercise. If you have 500 centimeter cube of water, what is the maximum number of bottles can you fill completely? The output should be an integer. So basically, you have to divide 5000, whatever 5000 divided by your whatever one bottle will carry pi r square 4 square and h 16. Okay. So this 5000 by this will give a number, but I want bottles will not be float numbers. Bottles always ints. So I convert everything into an int and then you print it. Then you will get the output something like this. Okay, 6 bottles. Okay. So anyway, not rocket science. Just I want you to get used to notebook. Everyone make it work. If it is not working, then everyone start using the Jupyter notebook. Look at the menu here and there, what all menu options are there, try to understand. Then whatever we are doing, just keep typing so that you will get used to typing in case you are not programming. I know some of us are managers, even I also don't program much. Okay, only I talk but I don't do anything. So that is why you can get used to it by writing it. Okay, here the last exercise, I want to print this message with this total volume as a dynamically allocated thing. So I want to put this 200411 is there now. I want to put a placeholder. I don't want to hard code it. Then I want to put this string and dot format. Okay, as an argument, this is basically my 3 pi r square h, whatever. I am not putting that numbers, all that calculation I put it, then dynamically it will allocate space there. That is how we write it. So I'm creating a string object with a placeholder where I want to put this value from this calculation. So I'm using the dot format. This is a very useful thing. Actually, when we start doing projects, we'll keep using it. It will give a little bit of flexibility and intelligence to quickly do things. Okay, so keep that in mind. Then anyway, the last one is you want to solve this problem not using directly numbers but give variable names. So whatever, pi, give a value, assign it, radius, height, then number of bottles, then calculate volume from that. Okay, so basically these are the variables you have defined. Then you are putting all these variables into a calculation, and one bottle volume we are creating, and that you can use it for total volume by multiplying that into. So these are more readable programs. So basically what we did today is that we just went through some Python basics. Python is a very easy to use, elegant programming language. You can think about your problem and don't need to worry so much about programming and learning the logic and all that. It makes life simpler for you. So in the basics, basically what we did is that Python treats everything in the language as an object. So as programmers, we use different types of objects, the number objects, the Boolean objects, the string objects, and we put them into some calculations using operators and comparison operators, and those things actually we have learned, and all these things have to be applied to the next level. So tomorrow, means again, our next class will be on Monday. We will start with data structures within Python, and again, by that time, again, the simple teething issues will be there. Just figure out maybe a little bit of Google search when I'm getting this error. Why am I getting them? They will suggest, because we are not close to each other. I'm not able to see that, but it's not a big thing. But ideally, if you kind of having computer, and we are, because these are all very easy, but when it comes to data structures, even functions and flows, especially when we are doing NumPy and pandas, I want you to follow the lesson along with me, typing and seeing for yourself, and then do the exercises also in a serious way. But when it comes to project, ideally I want everyone to go along with me, type every code the way I'm telling, and see answers for yourself, and then build the code of, again, as I told you, we will not build big large amount of code. A project means machine learning project will be maybe 100 lines of code, but organize that in a very well commented thing, then it becomes your project. Then if you have the template with you, then you can solve many such problems using the same template. So that is the idea. So, but anyway, get prepared for that. Anybody has any questions?
Hi Madhu.
Yeah.
Hi Madhu.
Yes.
Just a small request. Could you share any programming samples with us so that we can practice over weekend and like uh, the sample programs?
Yeah. This whatever IPYNB file for this
If you
exercise, I
have
will send it to
any.
you. Yeah. Then you can, I'll put those exercises there. Just you type to get the answers yourself in case you didn't try today.
Okay. Means if you have any like these basics, probably we have little knowledge. But if you have little like intermediate programs,
Yeah.
if you have any document, or
Sure.
if you can refer any site or somewhere where we can go and get those problem and start solving.
Sure, I will do that. Okay. So next
Madhu,
time also,
Joseph
Thanks.
whenever
here.
you're, yeah, whenever you're
I'm
asking
able to
questions,
get that
you tell
working.
your name. It will be easy. Joseph, please tell me.
Yeah, I'm able to get that working,
Amit,
Madhu. Thank
actually,
you.
Okay,
sorry,
very good.
Joseph. This was
Congratulations,
Amit.
Joseph. Amit.
Thank
So anytime you're asking a question, please tell your name so that I can address you with your name. Then the relationship will be much better. So Joseph,
Yeah, Madhu,
congratulations. It's working for
Raju
you.
here.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Hi,
Madhu.
Raju. Yeah.
Yeah, Madhu,
Hi, Raju. Go on.
can you
Yeah.
like navigate back to this? Yeah, can you navigate back to this slides like where we did a calculation of 5,000 divided by some formula? It gave you like 6, the
6.
result.
So because you are converting into int, you have to convert that into an int. Where is that?
Okay,
Okay.
this actually
So,
giving like 5,000, like the formula was giving somewhere 2,400, right? So 5,000 by that should be like 2.
no, this is actually one bottle. 3 pi r square h only we are using. For
Oh, okay,
earlier you
okay.
did
So
3
we were
bottles.
still having that. Yeah, got
You
it.
might have
Yeah,
copied and pasted that. So
okay.
here we are calculating the number of bottles that are required to fill 5,000 centimeter cube of water. So you should not have the tree here.
Right. Yeah, got that.
Okay, Raj. Yeah. Okay, so good. I'm very happy that you are interacting also. Let us do these projects also in a very interactive way. The whole idea is that at the end of this, at least you are having some foundational knowledge to deal with your teams as managers. If you are engineers, participate in the work, all that. That is the idea. So let's meet on Monday. Till that time, learn, have fun.
Thanks, Madhu.
Bye-bye.
So Madhu, I'm still having problems. So I'll figure out on how to that Jupyter notebook. Help me get back to you. I'll see. I'll figure out a way. Okay.
Okay, fine.